Hey guys, welcome to the video, and before we talk about this beautiful XF-11U and why I went with that name, let's talk about the journey of the guided missile itself and some fighters from that era. For centuries, projectiles went where they were aimed, using just gravity and wind. The true guided missile as we know it came onto the scene in World War II. With Germany's V weapons, the V-1 flying bomb and the V-2 rocket, the V-1 was the first cruise missile, an unmanned airplane following a straight path. The V-2 was the first ballistic missile, a powerful launch and an unpowered descent. These early weapons were crude, but they proved a revolutionary concept. A missile's path could be adjusted in flight, either by simple gyroscopes, radio commands, or self-contained sensors. Suddenly, a ship or a submarine wasn't just a platform for cannons, it could launch an automated nuclear deterrent. And that brings us to the Navy's early cruise missile efforts, the SSM-N9, Regulus 1 and 2. In the year 1958, the Navy had a problem. They had a subsonic Regulus 1 missile, but it's too slow and its guidance system was that of a Fox 1, meaning they had to stay surface, leaving the submarine exposed for the full duration of the missile's flight. They needed something better. They needed the Regulus 2. This was an absolute marvel of engineering for its time. It could fly at Mach 2 and had a range of over 1,000 nautical miles. Unlike its predecessor, it was a Fox 3, meaning it boasted an internal navigation system, so it could navigate itself to the target with incredible accuracy, meaning the submarine could dive right after launching the missile. It was designed to be launched from the deck of specially modified submarines and cruisers, carrying a ballistic or nuclear warhead deep into enemy territory. In September of 1958, the USS Greyback performed the first and only launch of Regulus 2 from a submarine. It was a stunning success, but innovation was moving too quickly for its own good. It was expensive and complex. Crucially, it required a surface launch, exposing the submarine's position like an F-117 opening its bomb bay doors. The next big breakthrough, the Polaris submarine-launched ballistic missile, was a superior alternative, rapidly maturing at the same time. The Polaris was a more survivable deterrent because it could be launched while the submarine was still submerged, staying hidden. The Secretary of the Navy canceled the Regulus 2 program in December of 1958, after only 2 years of development and before fleet service. The development of U.S. aircraft carriers in the 1950s was primarily centered on incorporating innovations like angled flight decks, steam catapults, and mirror landing systems to accommodate newer and heavier jet aircraft. These crucial modernizations took place in U.S. shipyards, with the most significant progress marked by the commissioning of the Navy's first true supercarrier, the USS Forrestal CV-59. This ship, along with conversions of older Midway-class carriers, introduced a new era of jet-capable carrier operations. The idea of submarine-based aircraft carriers have been explored by various navies during and after World War II. The concept gained traction in the U.S. during the 1950s. At this time, the Navy considered using new submarines such as the USS Halibut. The sub was designed to deploy winged cruise missiles, which means it worked well as a basis for a submarine carrier capable of launching crewed fighter aircraft like the Grumman F-11F Tiger. Ultimately, the rapid advancements in aviation during the decade quickly rendered the proposal of aircraft too slow, and the U.S. focused its efforts on missile-carrying submarines, largely abandoning the crewed submarine aircraft carrier. That brings us back to the XF-11U. Let's imagine the U.S. didn't abandon the idea of submarine carriers. Using the leftover airframes of the Regulus 2, we have our canvas to make a parasite fighter. I decided to go for a light fighter design. It featured the same J79 GE3 engine that was used in the original Regulus 2. It also came equipped with an AN/ASG 14T1 radar for IFF, and a resting hook for landing on the carrier or submarine it came from, and countermeasures located on the rear for easier access. During testing, the vertices coming off the front canards ultimately dubbed this fighter the Catfish, also appropriate because it would come from the sea. For weapons, the Catfish has a nose-mounted 20mm Vulcan cannon like the F-104. On its 6 pylons, it can carry 6 AIM-9s, with the 4 inner pylons being able to carry anything from air-to-air to air-to-ground ordnance. With these special tri-pylons, it can carry up to 7,000 pounds. The wings in this missile were in this configuration because there was weight to account for the center of lift. When removing that weight and replacing it with the cockpit, you run into some issues. I wanted to keep the look of the missile, but I would have had to add a tail, making this an F-104, or move the wings back. So I decided to move the wings back, making this a canard delta wing design. This would have given the US a blueprint for the Saab 37 Viggen 10 years sooner. I messed around with making the canards bigger for a better turn rate, but that caused the center of lift to be too far forward. Had the US successfully developed and deployed a submarine launch fighter force in the 1950s, it would have altered the balance of the Navy power in the beginning of the Cold War. Such a capability, like the actual AN-1 submarine aircraft carrier concept, could have infiltrated close to Soviet shores, launching short-range fighters to provide intelligence, covert attacks, or establish temporary local air superiority, significantly increasing the reach of the U.S. nuclear deterrence before the full maturity of the SLBM program. While limited in combat range compared to conventional carrier-based jets, this hypothetical move would have significantly altered the Cold War naval arms race timeline, completely shifting the focus to countering advanced long-range ASW threats. Breaking down the name XF-11U Catfish, the X is for experimental because there weren't many Regulus 2 frames to start with. The F is because this is a fighter that just so happens to be able to carry bombs like the F-104 and the original F-4 Phantom. The Regulus 2 program was canceled in the late 1958, but under the 1962 system, it would have been numbered in sequence, so 11. The 1962 system also included a manufacturer code. Vaught's code was historically U. And lastly, the test pilots couldn't help but embrace the similarities with the underwater apex predator, the Catfish. Since this was a submarine or conventional carrier-focused aircraft, the name was perfect. The Catfish was engineered for efficiency at extreme altitudes, capable of reaching a service ceiling of 50,000 feet, dominating the upper atmosphere. It demonstrated raw power by reaching a remarkable top speed of Mach 2.1, ensuring a rapid deployment and invasion capabilities. Despite its focus on interception speed, the aircraft possessed a formidable low-altitude strike potential, with a payload capacity of 7,000 pounds for reconnaissance equipment or dumb bombs and rockets. All this high-performance engineering was packaged into an airframe with a relatively light dry weight of 9 tons. Now, what fighters would this compete with for the U.S. contract at the time? The Lockheed F-104 Starfighter was primarily designed to be a high-speed, high-altitude day fighter and air defense interceptor for the U.S. Air Force. Well known for its dart-like design and also powered by a General Electric J79 turbojet engine, it was armed with a 20mm M61 Vulcan cannon and at the time only 2 AIM-9 Sidewinder missiles. The people who made the Regulus 2 didn't just make superhumans, they made a fighter to compete with the F-104, the Vought XF-8U Crusader III. It was designed for the US Navy as a Mach 2 fleet defense interceptor and an air superiority fighter. They also made the XF-5U Flapjack. The F-8U-3 was intended to be a successor to the Vaught's highly successful F-8 Crusader and was a key competitor in the Navy program to field a high-performance carrier-based fighter. Okay, so we're in the Catfish, and let's imagine it's 1960, and I don't have access to Mavericks because they weren't invented yet, so rockets and dumb bombs, and we don't have dumb bombs in this game, so rockets it is. And most of those tanks spawned underwater, unfortunately, so I'm going to take out one of them and try to avoid the SAM that's over there, because there were SAMs in the 1960. I think they came out in 1952, somewhere in there, so yeah. Yeah, so you like get into some of these tanks right here. They're underwater. Destroyed. Now we gotta take out this SAM without getting shot at. I'm gonna stay low, hopefully it doesn't see me. Approach is looking good so far. Target destroyed. And now we will just egress back to our sub. Mission complete. tanks that could be taken out or neutralized. I'm trying to take this one out over here. I don't know if it's underwater or not. That's way off. Way off. Oh, don't hit the ground. Let's come back for another pass. Ooh, she catfishing. Line up the shots. Target destroyed. I got it. The catfish secured an underwater kill. Oh my goodness. I'm gonna count that as a patrol U-boat kill. We did nice and low, about 40 feet, 30 feet. Sea skimming. Low and fast out the area, back to our submarine or carrier. Nice little fighter, man. Hey, thanks for watching the video. Like, comment, subscribe if you enjoyed it. And more to come, man. More videos coming soon.